My name is Tara McCauley and I'm a proud St. Thomas resident. I have been married to Jay, a small business owner, for 25 years, and we have 4 children and 6 grandchildren. I have a long history of community building and economic development in St. Thomas and Alkin County. For the past 10 years, I've worked alongside new and expanding businesses to help create a thriving place to live for all members of our community. My passion for the city has led to my recent leave of absence as manager of business development and entrepreneurship with St. Thomas Economic Development, so that I can use my experience with all levels of government to advocate for the needs of our community.
My name is Lori Baldwin-Sands. I am a lifelong resident of the City of St. Thomas, and I am running for City Council. I have deep roots in this community. I am a former business owner. I am a married mother of 3 children, and I am a grandmother. I'm very passionate about this community, and I have been a long-time community builder.
Hi, I'm Rose Gibson, and I'm running for St. Thomas City Council for 2022, and I'm hoping to gain your vote. Last election, I was short by 400 votes, and I'm hoping to gain them this time around. I have been in this community all my adult life. I have worked and volunteered for over 38 years, and I'm hoping to serve the community right. And the reason why I'm running is during my time with United Way, I noticed the issues that were needed by individuals and families, and I do believe that knowing that information, I can actually be very helpful in guiding as to what we could do to help those who are in need. The growing numbers is astonishing now, especially after COVID. We have so many people that are needing that extra help.
Hi, I'm Gary Clark. I'm running for my 3rd term in council. I've been born and raised in St. Thomas and looking forward to serving people for this next term. I'm married to the former Elaine Barnier, and we have 3 children and 5 grandchildren. And I think St. Thomas is on the verge of a lot of momentum. We've done a lot of great things in the last term, and we want to continue that work. And so I'd like to be a part of it and continue to serve the people of St. Thomas with making this a great place to live, work, and play.
My name's Earl Taylor, and I'm asking for your vote as I seek a position as St. Thomas City Councillor. My wife and I, Nancy, we have 2 children, Rob and Lisa, and our daughter-in-law, Megan, and 2 grandsons, Owen and Brady. I'm the broker manager of Coldwell Banker at Success Realty here in St. Thomas, and I get involved in my community. I'm the current chair of the St. Thomas Downtown Development Board, and on leave of absence, a board member with the St. Thomas and District Chamber of Commerce. In 2019, I was the president of the London and St. Thomas Association of Realtors, and currently I'm a volunteer member with the St. Thomas Optimist Club. I believe that if you want to make a better community, you need to lean in, work hard, and find a way to make not only your community, but also the quality of life of your community even better. And that's why I'm taking the next step as a St. Thomas City Councillor.
Hi, my name is Devin Church. My family moved here just over 30 years ago. So I've lived and worked here for the last 30 years. I'm a registered nurse in the city, and I work with vulnerable populations. And I am running for City Council because I'm the type of person that when there's a problem, I like to address it and not leave it for the next person. So I just figured I would take this head on and try to come up with solutions for the public that are beneficial, right? Like, yeah, I just want to help fix problems for folks in St. Thomas.
My name's Harold Schrader. I'm a 30-year resident of St. Thomas and homeowner. I'm husband of Cheryl, who's a nurse at the St. Thomas General Elgin Hospital, and I'm the father of Kylie and Patrick, adult children. I'm a 30-plus year retiree from the Interior Public Service, both with the Ministries of Natural Resources and Environment. I've traveled all around the province and most recently in London. In the past few years, longer than that, I've been a volunteer with a local service club that's done a lot of work for the needy in our community, and I'm looking forward to continue that. I'm really excited about the opportunity to join council to take a leadership role in influencing policies for the betterment of everybody that lives in my community.
Hi, my name is Steve Peters, and I'm a candidate for City Council here in St. Thomas. I'm an individual who brings experience, vision, and passion to the job. I come to this job with the experience of having served as the mayor of this community in the past. I've served this region as the MPP. I've served as the Minister of Agriculture and Food and the Minister of Labour, and for 4 years I was the Speaker of the Legislative Assembly of Ontario. I bring a wide and diverse experience to the job. I've had the honour and pleasure for the past 4 years to serve as a City Councillor here in St. Thomas again. And I've so appreciated the opportunity to continue to work with a wonderful team of individuals.
My name is Sean Denaire, born and raised in St. Thomas. Graduated from Central Algonquin Collegiate Institute. I've got business and visual art education background. Played hockey here in St. Thomas for several years, coached hockey. The reason why I'm running for council, communication. I find a huge lack of communication between community and City Hall. And you need somebody with a strong voice, progressive thinking, an open mind, the ability to listen and carry that communication to City Council.
My name's Steve Wookie. I've born in St. Thomas, raised in St. Thomas, and I love the city. And I've always loved politics ever since I was a little kid. I can't think of a time I didn't like it. Not coincidentally, I went on to study history, economics, and taught for 30 years, history, law, philosophy, economics, and that kind of stuff. Been on City Council since 2014, ran for mayor in 2018. I was unsuccessful, but was reappointed, sadly, when my friend Linda Stevens passed away. So here I am, seeking re-election or election, depending on how you want to look at it. So that's how I got here. I love what I do. Now, why am I doing this? I've answered this question before in the same way, in a sense of, why do people like quilting? Why do people like rebuilding engines? I don't know, but they love it, so they do it. I get a chance to be involved in the city I care about, doing something that I love. And that's the only thing I need to feel, is that this means a lot to me and I can help the city. And I'm retired now, so I have lots of time on my hands.
My name is Jim Herbert. I'm President of Leon City Council, and I'm pretty pleased and excited to be able to run for a second term. I was born and raised in St. Thomas, always interested in the city. I'm a past president of the YMCA, past president of the Curling Club, and I was on STI board for 7 or 8 years as chair in AGI boards. And currently on City Council, I'm on the Police Services Board, I'm on Kettle Creek Conservation Authority Board, I'm on the Art Gallery Board, I'm on Community Improvement and Environmental, which will be back up and running in the new year. So those are the things I love to be involved, and looking forward to the challenge of a second term as a city councillor.
My name is Dawn Docker, and I'm running for St. Thomas City Council, and I am no stranger to City Hall. Beginning in 1998, I began advocating for the building known as Alma College. That was a 20-year journey that has brought me to this point. I enjoy reading reports. I review the agenda every week. I watch City Council meetings via Zoom from my living room. I've prepared deputations. I've presented deputations to St. Thomas City Council. I learned so much from the Alma College experience, and here I am today looking for your support to be a St. Thomas City Councillor.
Hi, my name is Timothy Hedden. I'm a lifelong resident with a brief break of St. Thomas. I'm a self-employed entrepreneur. I run several businesses. I do income taxes, teach kids theater, and currently I'm in a home renovation business with my father since the start of COVID. The reason I'm running is I would like to be part of the team that ends chronic homelessness in the city of St. Thomas. And I'd also like to help revitalize the downtown core. And those two things are very interconnected, and I hope to be a part of solving both of those issues.
My name is Patricia Hontar. I'm a third-generation Ukrainian, and my grandmother gave me my name, Patricia, which is the female version of Peter. I grew up and was born in Mississauga, and I did my undergraduate degree in London at Western, and I did 2 master's degrees in Lund University in Sweden. These master's degrees gave me an interdisciplinary perspective on many topics. I moved to St. Thomas 11 years ago for my role at the local immigration partnership, where we work to build welcoming, caring, and inclusive communities. I've also had the privilege of serving on many boards and committees, and through this community work and my professional work, I have found many interesting and insightful pieces about our city, and I would like to take this experience and use it on my term on council.
My name is Joe Doherty. I've been a resident of St. Thomas for 16 years. Family's been here for over 45. Live in a 3-generational home with my wife, her mother, and her daughter. 2 dogs and a cat. I've been watching the goings-on in municipal government for a while now, and I thought now's my chance to get involved. I believe there's a need for the council to have more exposure and involvement in the community, and I think I'm the person that can make that happen.
I think St. Thomas's strength are its people. People who come here to work, people who volunteer, and people who create this community and this sense of being together. As head and chair of the Health Recruitment Committee for the city and the county, I am crucially aware that our people are in need of doctors, and there is a critical doctor shortage in this community. We have been working hard over the last number of years to create the environment that is needed and required to entice doctors to come to our area. We have a great hospital here, and we want to encourage doctors to come because we are creating a healthy, sustainable, active community that is shown in our trails and some of our parks and all of the things we collectively do together to make our streets more complete, to be able to have active transportation in all of our corridors. That also gives attention to climate change issues, making sure that we are addressing some of the need to make our infrastructure more stronger so that we are limiting the effects of climate change in our community.
I think St. Thomas's biggest strength was our council today noticed that the housing issues and the individuals who need the help that are living on our streets, whether it's from losing their jobs, drug addictions, or what have you, they stepped up to the plate. They looked at where they can find housing, which is top priority on any issues that you are suffering with. It's very sad that we have it in our community. We're not the only community, but I feel that St. Thomas did work very, very quickly in finding ways to make new housings for those who are in need. So I'm very proud of that issue. And in fact, we've been noticed by other communities, and they're asking us about it. How did you do it? And I'm so proud of that.
I think our biggest strength is actually our location and our size. So we are a small urban center, but we have big city amenities. And we're close to Lake Erie, close to Lake Huron, so people can enjoy those natural resources. It provides us with clean water. And as a city, we have all kinds of parks and trails and recreational opportunities that we've developed. And so our biggest asset then is just where we are, ravines, our geography. We're avoiding major climate problems. And probably our biggest asset is the location to the 401, where we can attract business and industry, and that's where we're right in the middle of doing.
St. Thomas is located smack dab in the middle of southwestern Ontario. We're a couple minutes south of London, 2 hours to Detroit, Windsor, 2 hours to Niagara, Buffalo, and less than 2 hours to the largest population in Canada, the Golden Horseshoe. As a realtor, I've helped many, many families move here from the GTA for a number of reasons, but mainly because of affordable housing. We have the most affordable housing this side of the GTA. They're also coming for health care. They're coming for our amazing educational system. And also I've helped other businesses move here, mainly because of the skilled workforce. But I believe our biggest opportunity involves tourism. If we can convince more people to come here to see the great things that are happening in St. Thomas, those visitors bring tax dollars, and that is great for our economy. We need to prove to the world that St. Thomas really does have 25% more life.
So I believe that strength comes from the residents of St. Thomas. And I think that we need to really focus on that, especially after 2+ years of a pandemic with everyone being isolated, that we need to start building community connections again. So we need to look at creating spaces, creating events that are free or affordable that everyone can attend so that we can actually start building our community back up again. People work best when they work together.
Yeah, the biggest strength that we have in our community, I dare say in most communities, is our people. When they apply themselves to the entrepreneurial and social and recreational and spiritual purposes in their life, we all benefit. I think the role of government is really to enable and remove the barriers to people seeking the best that they can be for everyone. I know the local businesses they're the engine that hire people. They pay the wages for us to enjoy the standard of living that we have in this beautiful city. And I think the local government needs to find ways to reduce burdens, regulatory burdens on entrepreneurs that are trying to step up to implement the policies, the official PAM policies, the social policies, and the environmental, climate change, adaptation types of policies that we all need for a sustainable future for ourselves and for our children.
Some of the strengths that I see about our community, most importantly, it's our people. Because our people are always coming forward with new ideas and suggestions and new approaches of how we do things. And one of the important things about any of those aspects is that they're always prepared to come to the table to work, to volunteer, to raise money for any particular cause. And that's what makes us a great community, how we bind together. It is our people.
St. Thomas's biggest strength is our people. We are a strong, loyal, and diverse community that has strong moral values. City Hall needs to integrate our community in the process of growth.
St. Thomas's biggest strength, as far as I can see it, is simply where we live, the city itself. And what I mean by that is the size of the city, the location of the city, the infrastructure in the city, of course the people. But we have so much going for us here that we sometimes take for granted. 1,000 people a year are moving to St. Thomas. So they're voting with their feet, and they're telling us that we're an awesome place to be. How do we utilize that? How we utilize that is that we continue to foster growth, because we are 44,000 right now. As you get a little bit larger, I don't want St. Thomas to get too large, but as we continue to grow, these economies of scale happen such that we could, say, afford to have a community center that's got a pool in it, an auditorium, a gym, pickleball courts, I'm not sure. But those are the kind of things that can happen reasonably within a budget once we get to certain economies of scale. So that's how we utilize it. We harness that growth and create better opportunities for people who are living here.
One of the biggest strengths for me for St. Thomas is the ability for us to attract families to move here to St. Thomas to live and raise their families and get involved into the community with us. Maclean's magazine voted us as number 3 in Canada, and we have excellent hospital, we have good police and fire services, and we have access to parks, excellent parks. And if you want to do a canoe, you can go to Dalewood. So all those things attract families to come to St. Thomas. And our population is growing 1,000 per year predicted. So in 5 years, there's 5,000 people more for St. Thomas. And I think that's just a great asset for our city to continue to attract people.
While St. Thomas's biggest strength is obviously the citizens and our business owners. We can utilize our biggest strength based on the geographic positioning of St. Thomas. We are geographically positioned strategically to the 401, to the rails, and our St. Thomas Airport is a lovely facility for our manufacturers. Ford Motor Company spent 44 years in the St. Thomas region. That was no accident based on the strategic positioning of that plant. Now Amazon has taken over that location. Amazon is going to employ thousands of people. St. Thomas has an opportunity to make a fresh start. We have the workforce and we have the resources to move forward.
I think we have 2 strengths. Right now, I would say our flexibility is our biggest strength. We're continuing to grow We have the opportunity to do that in a very smart, meaningful way. We're acquiring lands to get a new factory built out in the northeast end of town. All of these things will help the community grow, and with that growth comes the need to manage it in an efficient and intelligent way. The second thing that I think makes this community thrive is our nonprofits. And I was actually in conversation with Serge Lavoie, who we talked at length about the elevated park and how things were going there. But the thing that lingered with me after our conversation was the need to engage our nonprofits. They do most of the work around town in terms of community events, now tourist attractions, art installations, fireworks. So I think it's time that we talk to them and say, how can we as the city be a better partner, and have that conversation. And I appreciated Serge telling me that, because it stuck with me.
St. Thomas's biggest strength is the people that live here. We have residents with great diverse backgrounds. We have service clubs that are doing amazing work. We have service providers that are really meeting the people on the ground. Businesses of all sizes, from the small businesses up to the big, large manufacturers, that are all part of the community and trying to make this place better.
I think St. Thomas's biggest strength is its sense of community, the pride and the belief that we have in ourselves. I think this is evident from the amount of people that want to come and live in St. Thomas. According to Joe Preston, there's going to be an extra 1,000 people per year for the next 9 years. So we always want to do well. We want to do things better in St. Thomas, and I think people are recognizing that.
In my role at St. Thomas Economic Development, I've had the opportunity to see how other communities work and feel we have something pretty special in St. Thomas. In St. Thomas, we are fortunate to have engaged people in roles and in our business community who truly care about the community. From the YWCA, St. Thomas and District Chamber of Commerce, St. Thomas and Elgin Social Services, Elgin Business Resource Center, Employment Services Elgin, St. Thomas Elgin General Hospital, St. Thomas EDC, St. Thomas Railway City Tourism, and so many more organizations, businesses, and individuals that should be included on this list. The collaboration that is happening informally and formally is helping to move the dial forward on initiatives and our pain points.
So I do believe the priorities for St. Thomas at this time, again, it runs into our residents in St. Thomas. I mean, people who lose their jobs, again, we need to look at the significance in what we can do for them. I think we need to work with Karen Vecchio, work with Rob Flack, talk to them, talk to agencies, see if we can, in fact, maybe start some new projects from the community it works, the churches or what. We just need to get out there and talk to our organizations, and let's just see if we can pull everyone together, because it's just not them, it's us. It's our community, our city, and we really need to pull together to ensure that everybody's living a safe and happy life.
I think our number one priority is an addiction treatment center. We've got a number of people, because of the opioid crisis that's across Canada, that really need that help at home. And I'll talk about that a little further. We also need to get the hospice built, and that's a priority for a number of people as well, for different reasons. Thirdly, we need a green energy, climate change master plan, so that everything we do takes on that lens in the next 4 years. And lastly, I think it's really important that we get a handle on taxes. Budgeting is going to be really important this time around. People are suffering with inflation. They're losing a lot of dollars that they need on a day-to-day basis for mortgages and payments and things. And so we need to make sure that we keep taxes below inflation.
There's a number of priorities I want to talk about. If you visit my website, voteearltaylor.ca, they're all listed there. But I think number one on my list today is going to be the social issues happening in our city: homelessness, drug addiction, mental health, and crime. We need to find a solution to that. Our downtown has experienced many, many problems, and I think over the last couple of years, the pandemic has exacerbated the problems that are happening. We need to find a solution where our downtown business owners and property owners have a chance for success. I think that St. Thomas is poised for great economic growth, and if we can create an infrastructure that brings great paying jobs to St. Thomas, that's on our list. Next, we need to make sure that we are looking at our tax dollars and make sure that every hard-earned tax dollar is well spent, and also we need to make sure that communication is probably one of the biggest items. I want to make sure that our public understands what is happening in our community, and maybe even setting up task forces where those involved in the projects that are happening actually have a chance for their say.
I think the biggest thing that we need to focus on is the health of our residents, because there is no council to see over if we don't have anyone living here, right? So as a nurse, health services need to be accessible at all times to all people, right? We need to look at having another walk-in. One walk-in for a city of this size is not beneficial, right? We need to look at a 24/7 drop-in space for folks downtown so they have access to food, shelter, showers, right? Like essential human needs. We need affordable housing so that the majority of our paycheck isn't going to rent, so that we can afford to actually do things other than just live. Another big thing would be a safe consumption site and a treatment center downtown so that folks that need help can get help without having to go like far distances and wait months or years to get into treatment.
I think the biggest priority right now and going forward is managing the tremendous rate of growth we've experienced over the past few years. We're coming out of a pandemic, which kind of put a stall on things, but there's a real excitement now as the city grows quickly. Our population is growing rapidly. When I moved here, when Cheryl and I moved here 30 years ago, the population was about 18,000. We've broken 40,000 recently. We have a lot more people here, and they're bringing in different cultures, they're bringing in different aspirations, and I think it's important that we manage that growth in infrastructure and in services that meet all people that are moving here to keep us a welcoming community for all.
Our priorities, first and foremost, need to be financial. We're experiencing unprecedented inflation right now, and we need to do everything in our power to keep taxes as low as possible, but at the same time, continuing to support the community so that our community continue to grow and prosper, and whether that means new housing, new jobs, but being welcoming as a community as well too.
I feel that the biggest priority for City Council is communication, representation, and accountability to the public. Council works for the taxpayers, and Council needs to get more into the public eye and more involved in major decision making.
The biggest priority St. Thomas City Council should focus on, in my opinion, and I'm going to go off a little bit because I have an idea of what other people might say, so I want to go to my thing I care about most, and that's social, healthy, active living. The longer I'm on this planet, the more I realize that your whole quality of life improves when you're social, healthy, and active. That's general. What do I mean by that? The pathways in St. Thomas are outstanding, and I want to expand that to be a complete loop. Those kind of things. I want to make sure that when we do new development in town, that there is sufficient parkland such that we don't have isolated little communities. So when I say social, healthy, active living, that's the kind of stuff I mean.
Priorities. I have a few priorities. I can't just say there's one specific, but we need to look at affordable housing, infrastructure, emergency shelters, and of course the downtown issue now is one of the big things that we need to prioritize. I think what we need to do now, we thought we were doing good closing the church and closing 423 Trollope Street, bring it down to the inn, but it hasn't worked out. So what we need to do now is relocate the inn. We need to get it out of the core, and that will make our downtown a lot safer. And there's some Band-Aid solutions going on now. We've got 4 special constables who are all mental health training, but we really need to relocate it because we're having businesses close and we can't have that. So getting the inn to a different location has got to be a priority.
I reviewed my filing box that contains various reports and came across 2 reports that I feel are very poignant for this time in the history of St. Thomas. Those reports are the Elgin County Homelessness and Needs Assessment of 21. The second report is the Long-Term St. Thomas Elgin Affordable and Social Housing Strategy report of 2018. Both of those reports were very expensive and contain recommendations that would push us into trying to resolve the current situation that we have. The third item that I'm interested on is St. Thomas is preparing a strategic plan for urban design. I really want to be at the table for that report as it comes to its ending, and I want to follow the guidelines and recommendations that the taxpayers have paid for.
The biggest priority is ending chronic homelessness. It all starts there. If we can do that in a kind and supportive way, then we'll start to alleviate the issues that are affecting the downtown businesses. And then hopefully we'll get some more infill, and the more people that live and work and within a 5 to 10 minute walk of the downtown, the better off we'll be. So hopefully the railway lands get developed there, Ross and Talbot. Maybe something could happen at the Sutherland Press land. So those would be my priorities, and I think that should be the council's priority. Is you start with ending the chronic homelessness, and a lot of these things I think will fall into place.
My biggest priority as a member of council is to change the way in which decisions are made. Over the pandemic, there was no community delegations that happened to the City Council, and the City Council lost touch with what was happening in our community. We need to ensure that when decisions are made, it takes into account all the people that are affected by that decision. We need to think of every single group that should be at the table and has a stake in an issue, and listen to the way the concerns, their suggestions, and the way that they think that we should proceed, and then make a decision based on all of those and not just from one interest group. And it's something that we need to just change the old guard, change the way people are used to doing things, and bring in a new, fresh perspective that I am willing to lead and to encourage and to use my connections within the city to get the right people to the table to present whenever we have an issue coming up.
St. Thomas Council should be working on their communication and transparency. There seems to be a lack of communication between the municipal government and the constituents that it's supposed to represent. A typical example of that would be the homeless situation. There should be cooperation between municipal, provincial, federal governments, private sector, the people, the specialists that know what's going on, and the people that are homeless and having issues. I don't know if that's going on because there doesn't seem to be any communication with regards to that. That's where I would come in. I would be the person that makes everyone know what's going on in the city.
In my opinion, housing is the biggest priority. In the 2021 census, St. Thomas grew by 10% in a 5-year time frame compared to the 6% average. There's been a significant spike in housing costs, including rental rates, and the vacancy rate has decreased significantly from 3.4% in 2020 to 1.9% in 2021. This has created substantial pressure for housing access, specifically for households with low income or who live in poverty. And the housing wait list has more than doubled in the last 2 years, and wait times for housing can be up to 10 years. There are many organizations across the city that see the need from a social perspective and an economic development perspective. Continued strong collaboration with community organizations and all levels of government will be critical to move forward, and we need to be creative in how we address the housing issue.
I strongly believe that our next community project should be a community aquatic center. This has also been identified in our strategic plan, and I have been chair of that committee for the last couple of years and started dialogue with one other community that has started their own community aquatic center, but they are doing it without an increase to any of the tax levies. That is for the infrastructure that is being built, so for the bricks and mortar part of the project, and also for the continuing operational expenses. I am strongly committed to this because we are a community of 43,000 people, and yet we do not have our own community aquatic center. And I hope to change that. It's part of our strategic plan. It's identified as a need in this community, and we need to make sure that the following steps do happen in order that we have the community center with an aquatic facility that this community so desperately wants and desires.
We have a number of people that we need to take care of in St. Thomas, and it's all because, as I mentioned before, the opioid crisis. And the strength of the drugs is causing overdoses. It's causing people to have more mental issue problems, and so we need that addiction treatment center, and that's a huge priority. We have been addressing and continue to address the housing issue. We know that a year ago there was less than 100. We know them by name. We've done a census. Last June, we know that list is down to about 57. So we continue to build social housing, supportive housing to take care of folks, but we can't do it alone, and we need the province and the feds to step up and help St. Thomas.
In 2013, the provincial government eliminated our mental health facilities, and since then I believe the problem has got worse. Over the past 2 years of the pandemic, 2.5 years, that problem has gotten even worse and more visible in regards to homelessness and mental health and crime. So we need to find a way to solve that problem. Rather than the government just handing billions of dollars down and hoping that the municipalities can solve the problem, but the problems are happening too fast. We need more help. We need to convince the provincial government to open mental health facilities again so that the people that need the help can get the help that they really need.
The quick and dirty way to address the situation that's happening in St. Thomas, that's also like province, Canada-wide, is we need to look at moving our emergency shelter. We need to look at having accessible drop-in spaces for folks all day where they can use safely and not be afraid that they're gonna get their stuff stolen, beat up, attacked, right? We need to look at more of like a long-term housing. So even if it's for weeks instead of months, like there's answers that are out there with safe consumption centers, with shelters, with treatment. Like there's easy, accessible answers that are not going to take a long time to fix.
Yeah, the homelessness issue is widespread. We all see in the news and in the media that this is typical of most urban centers, predominantly urban centers. I think our key is to deal with it with compassion and focusing on maintaining the dignity of people. I think we also have to explore the root causes of what cause marginalization and our homelessness. Lack of opportunity in education, in employment, the drug abuse and the substance abuse, the self-harming behaviors. We're going to have to work with agencies, we're going to have to work with the police services, we're going to have to work with volunteer groups to get out in front of homelessness and try to find ways to improve people's situations so that they can be contributing members of society as well.
We've done a lot as a city council to help support some of the most vulnerable in our community. We've invested in housing, we've invested in programs, but it just doesn't seem to be enough. And I think it's time that we need to look at perhaps a new approach of how we're doing things. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we can't do this on alone as the city of St. Thomas. We need the help of others to make this happen, to make this a reality, to make sure that we deal with the real life issues that people of St. Thomas are facing today. And that has to be done through partnerships and working together.
Marginalized population. Let's be careful here. By definition, it means unimportant and powerless position within our society. Nobody is unimportant in our society. Humans segregate and label based on egoic thinking. We need to take care of our less fortunate by whatever means necessary to the situation appropriately for positive change.
St. Thomas's population of marginalized and homeless individuals is a significant issue that we all see on the street every single day, and we hear about it frequently from both sides of it, from both the people who want more help for their loved ones and themselves, and the people who get frustrated by the situation downtown. St. Thomas City Council, we have to stay in our lane because we're not the federal government, provincial government, but we are right now on Queen Street creating 40 new units of housing, such that people who are in out of the cold at the homeless shelter, who are capable of living on their own, will then be able to live on their own with supports. And then we can serve other people better. It's not going to totally take away the problem. And this problem is every city all over Canada, but we hear you and we're acting on it, and we are continuing to look for alternatives to make things better.
Homeless is a problem in every city, and it's a problem in our city too. We've tried to partner with Indwell to have units available for the homeless people, and it's called affordable housing too, where so many units we work with the developer are dedicated to homeless people. We have the homeless above the Railway City loft and the bus stop, and that seems to be working well. Indwell on Queen Street, there's 47 units there, and I'm told by next April there'll be at least 45 homeless people taken off the street going into those units. So we're working on it all the time. It's a community effort, and we get a lot of help from a lot of the community. So homeless still has to be up near the top of your list for a priority.
And I'm going to refer back to one of the reports that I would like to follow through with if elected to St. Thomas City Council. And that is the Elgin County Housing and Homelessness Needs Assessment Report done in 2021. If the recommendations in that report are managed and implemented, our housing crisis would see a decrease. I look forward to being part of that conversation.
Well, you have to start essentially at the bottom. So first you start with supportive housing. You got to get people off the streets. You got to get them taken care of. Supported in meaningful ways and towards a path to recovery if possible. The second element of that is once they have, then they need a system such as geared to income housing. Geared to income housing, I don't think there's been a new development in 30 years, and there's a very lengthy wait list. So we should immediately start lobbying provincially to get funds to build or develop a new geared to income housing unit with accessible units as well for those who are disabled. The third thing is because there's such a lack of geared to income housing, it's created stagnation. So now people can't afford to move into what used to be called affordable, or 75% of market rate. So there's now stagnation here. They can't afford to get into affordable. People can't get into geared to income. Affordable can't buy a house. It just starts to has a domino effect basically. So again, you start with supportive housing and geared to income housing, get things moving in a meaningful way there, and I think a lot of these problems will hopefully take care of themselves after that.
There's no denying that St. Thomas is seeing an increase in homeless people, and we need to work as a community to come to a solution to support this population and all the people affected by their living situation. When we come up with a decision, we need to evaluate why the shelter was moved into downtown, hear the experiences of the local businesses and listen to their potential solutions, work with the residents, work with the service providers who are providing the services with mental health, addiction, housing, and see how as a city we can support and diversify what they offer to ensure that the services are available for everyone who needs them. Perhaps what we currently have doesn't suit the people who are looking to access services and looking for help. And as a city, we can look for different partnerships with the province and the federal government and look at different systems that the different municipalities have been using to better support our homeless population and make our community a welcoming place for everybody, where everyone feels safe and that they have a home here.
I think that the City of St. Thomas, in cooperation with the provincial government and the federal government, as well as the experts in the field and the marginalized people, should all get together at a table, sit down and go over everything together. And if that's being done, it's then up to the municipal government to tell the constituents what's been going on at those meetings. Let's face it, the municipal government is the face of government for the people of St. Thomas. Everything that goes on in the city, the municipal government is basically responsible for it. So they need to be out there telling the people what's going on.
Communities across Canada are seeing an increase in people experiencing homelessness. It's a complex issue that is not going to be solved overnight. There are many community organizations doing incredible, tireless work. There's a lack of treatment for people struggling with addiction and a delayed response for support in a timely manner. St. Thomas has taken many steps, and in comparison to other cities, is seeing a slow but notable decline in people experiencing homelessness. I will advocate for increased street outreach workers, a crisis stabilization and withdrawal management center, a residential treatment center. I feel the city can engage the community more proactively. Businesses, residents, all organizations supporting our vulnerable population, and people with lived experience. We are a thriving, compassionate community who can do amazing things, and it is critical that we are getting feedback from our residents.
My next focus will be on what the world is focusing on, is the problem of what we are seeing in our homeless community. I have in the past supported our staff, and I support our volunteers that are working to create a caring and compassionate community in order for people that are in need to find that care and compassion to start their road to recovery. Part of that, again identified in our strategic plan for the city, is the number of housing units that we have committed to. Whether these housing units be affordable, more affordable, whether they are assistive housing, or whether they are supportive housing. This is the type of housing our community needs, because it is a basic human right for people to be able to put a head on a pillow, in a bed, in a safe space. And that is one of my goals and objectives.
I think that there's room for play to do more. We just have to make sure when we're talking to our federal and provincial governments that when we do programs or new initiatives or building new homes, we need to make sure that they're long-lasting supports on the upper governments. We don't need them to come and say, here's your money and do what you can, and then 2 years down the road, they're telling us you have to support that. We don't want that on our taxpayers' money at the municipality level. We want long-term support from our government to ensure that marginalized people in our community are getting the full support, and they can count on it. They can knock on any door, Grace Cafe, the Annex, a church, the City Hall doors even. I need help. We need to make sure that that is in place forever, because it's ongoing, and it could be your neighbor next door, and it may not be today, tomorrow. It could be a month from now, a year from now.
As you know, I've been a realtor for almost 30 years and a volunteer for even longer than that. Communication is top of my list. In 2019, I was the president of the London and St. Thomas Association of Realtors, and during my years with the board, with the association, I went through lots and lots of training in regards to political action, governance, advocacy, and I believe that my experience will certainly bring some help to our area. I've been to Queen's Park, I've been to Parliament Hill advocating on behalf of many of the issues that are happening here in St. Thomas. And I think that with my resources and my connections, I will be able to help keeping great open lines of communication with all levels of government.
So I can't guarantee that there will be cooperation, right? As I've never worked in city council before, so I'm not entirely sure what I'm working with. But working as a nurse, I work with all folks, all types, all attitudes. So I find that if you listen more than talk, you can generally figure out what the issue is and you can resolve it. Also, a big thing is just respecting those that you're speaking to, and you generally get respect back. So I think I will just deal with all forms of government the same as I deal with all types of people, and just come into it compassionately, openly, and listen to what they have to say and try to find the right answers.
The cooperation requires reciprocation. I will make myself available to anyone that wants to talk about the common good, which transcends all the jurisdictional boundaries here. Every politician in this region has a mission to serve the public. And that public is very mobile these days. They're blind to some boundaries. Rural people come to the city to work. Urban people go to the rural areas to work and to recreate. I think it's important that we be aware that we're all working for the same reason. My background in natural resources brought me into contact with the conservation authorities. There's an agency that transcends boundaries for everyone's benefit. I look forward to continuing that kind of role.
We need to work, though, most importantly, with our neighbors in Elgin County. We duplicate a lot of services, from libraries to homes for the aged, to engineering departments and planning departments. And as we look to try and keep your taxes down, we need to find a new approach of working with our neighbors in the County of Elgin so that we can continue to meet the needs, meet the priorities of what our citizens need and demand, but most importantly, that we're ensuring that we get the best value for your taxpayers' dollars. And I believe that one of those ways is by working and changing and enhancing our relationship with the County of Elgin. But we also too need to recognize that first and foremost, there is only one taxpayer. But there are two other levels of government that make decisions that have an impact on us at the local level. And we need to make sure and advocate that those levels of government understand that each level of government through the Constitution has specific priorities of what we should and should not be doing. We as a city have been asked to do much more in the way of housing, etc. So I commit to using my past experience to working closely with the provincial government and the
consistent communication, communication, communication. Breakdown in communication or inconsistent communication means inevitably disconnect. I have repeated the word communication several times this morning. Without communication in our society, it falls apart. Our recent events in our community have had people talking, and that's what brings our community together.
Cooperation in the region and different levels of government is a key thing here. We live in the middle of Elgin County. We are bordered by Central Elgin and Southold townships. We need to get along with our neighbors, and we do that by being honest, upfront, collaborative, getting together on projects where they make sense, but respecting our differences where that needs to happen. And we are actively on that. And we all know the people who are representatives in those other areas. And so it comes down a lot this time to like personal relationships and respect for each other. I know that's kind of fluffy, but that's the way it goes, personal relationships. In terms of higher levels of government, we have warm relationships with the provincial and federal levels. We have a capacity to get along with them, and it's very important because they fund a lot of our projects.
Getting down at the table, speaking with our partners. We're very fortunate to have Karen Vecchio and Rob Flack, federal and provincial, in our riding. And we want to work with our neighbors. We want to work with Central Elgin. We want to work with Southold Township. We want to work together. So there's a lot of issues that we share, and it's important that maybe we get on board with them, and maybe we could share some services with them. And but by just speaking and talking and listening to each other is to me the best way to go.
All levels of government are aware of the current problems we're facing, and the problems continue. What I would suggest is that we open the communication with all levels of government, including the region. Constant communication must be our focus. This is not a red issue, a blue issue, a left issue, a right issue. This is our issue. This is our community. We must put aside the partisan stripes and deal with this matter head on. I want the very best for St. Thomas. I raised my son in St. Thomas. I've operated my business in St. Thomas. I own my home in St. Thomas. I went to school in St. Thomas. I want the vibrant St. Thomas that I know and remember to come back.
Well, it starts with just having very basic conversations and talking to, I have a great relationship with Karen Vecchio, who's our current MP. We frequently talk and often disagree about the issues that are going on, but it's always respectful. In terms of things like the county, there's a lot of shared interest there in terms of possibly some regional transit projects, new development of industry in our northeast end will likely have some kind of county role to play. What services do we share that might have duplication? Is there a larger role for EDC, the Economic Development Corporation in the county itself? Is there duplication there? These are things that perhaps we can help each other with. And the basic thing is figure out where you agree and work on that. And then if the disagreements aren't urgent, you can couch those, make progress where progress can be made.
Working collaboratively with the surrounding municipalities, either Elgin County or municipalities in the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus, or the larger cities like London and Woodstock, we need to see how we can work together to make more sustainable solutions that think of our entire region. We also need to expand the way that we partner with the province, with the MPP, and with the federal government, with the MP, to see how the grants that they are putting out can work to increase and improve life here in St. Thomas. The way that we can do this is through connecting, through conversations, and through dialogue, not only telling them what we need from them, but hearing from them what they need from us. And through this relationship building, we can create St. Thomas as a better and more inclusive community.
I'm fairly confident that there is cooperation and good, strong relationships within all levels of government, including the counties. I just think that what needs to happen is the communication that goes on between them needs to be shared with the constituents of St. Thomas. If there's something going on, if there's meetings that are going on, people need to be made aware of what's going on. And I think the city needs to be more proactive in presenting that information to its people.
Relationship building and communication with the new MPP, Rob Flack, will be important to ensure he understands the full needs of our community. I'm encouraged that he has an office in St. Thomas. From a federal perspective, the proposed federal riding redistribution concerns me. We have many organizations in our community with the Elgin St. Thomas name, and important relationships have been built in St. Thomas and Elgin County. There are many negative impacts if this were to go through, and the proposal seems like we are taking steps backward instead of forward. Working closely with MP Karen Vecchio will be critical. From a regional perspective, we need to continue the strong relationships created through St. Thomas Economic Development, as well as the many organizations serving our community that have regional relationships and are sharing best practices and learnings while putting us on the map.
And last, I would like to talk about climate change. I sit on a national board called Climate Caucus. We are a group of elected officials from across the country that get together virtually and talk about the best practices that happen in our community to help our communities become more resilient towards climate change and the impacts that can happen with severe, wetter, wilder weather. In order to do that, I've also been asked to join their board and be a presenter at some of their monthly meetings. Also, there is the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, which I connect with, and AMO, which the City of St. Thomas is a member. We do get together regionally, and we do get together provincially. So I would like to say that those are the ways I will continue as a City Council member to keep those connections going, whether it be on social media or picking up the phone and calling my fellow councillors.
I'm hoping that by talking the ears off Karen Vecchio and Rob Flack, that we continue that support, that talk. It's all about communication. And we also have to make sure that we include the municipalities around us, because the power comes in with numbers, and with numbers comes with support. So I'm hoping that, that we can work together, the new council that's coming together. I'm hoping they'll be working together just to ensure that that continue chat with our higher governments is continue. Like, we must ensure, I can't emphasize that any more stronger. You know, one time we used to do, picket lines and say what we want to the governments. Now it's all about doing it together as a community, not just one group, but as a community. We all have to pull together. We have to all talk to our governments to make sure that the support is there, and a continuous support, not a short-term support, not just startup funding, but continuous support.
We've had a great relationship with the surrounding communities, Southwold and Central Elgin. We continue to look for ways that we can share costs, because costs are rising for all cities and towns. And the pandemic kind of slowed things up, but it's a matter of trust. We're the bigger city, and we need to make sure that they feel that when we do join together, that they can trust us, and it's going to be a mutual benefit to both. A good example is our planning department. We have a joint planning department for Central Elgin and St. Thomas, and we look forward to things like tourism or maybe economic development, or we do some bulk purchasing. So the biggest thing, though, for us is working with the feds and the province to make sure that we have stable funding for St. Thomas. For every dollar that you pay in taxes, only 10 cents comes to the city. So we can't do it alone. We need the support of the other levels of government.